U.S. Supreme Court certified mediator Stanley Zamor, primary trainer, qualified arbitrator. So this is a quick conversation about the shadow of mediation. It's a term that is not usually used, not usually known, but does exist. If the term doesn't exist because you haven't heard of it, right? Trust me, it exists as far as interaction you may have with participants post-mediation. So be very careful. Most people believe as you mediate, and of course you're ethical during the process of mediation, not showing bias, not showing favoritism, not showing anything that could be unethical or seeing that you're biased on one side versus another, which is easy to do based on your behavior, right? What happens after mediations? What happens after the document is signed and you're walking down the hall? What happens when you're in the parking lot if it's a live mediation and you close the door? What happens when after the case is over, maybe in a what I call constructive impasse, and the case is done? What happens when they want to hang out and continue to speak to you after the Zoom or whatever video platform you're using is over? What happens? Think about that, all right? There's something that looms. The integrity of the process must be maintained. You, as a neutral, or if you're watching this and you're a party, or if you're an advocate, an attorney, or some level of corporate rep or general counsel that's attending mediation on behalf of your entity or company corporate interest, same thing. What happens afterwards? After it's been understood and agreed that the process of mediation is over in the sense of trying to negotiate, but you're still interacting post that agreement of however it resolves. It might resolve again, no agreement, an adjournment to come back, a partial or full agreement. What happens after that's done? How does that mediator behave? What is the conversation? Be very careful because some people believe, well, since we signed an agreement, or since it's done, we've agreed it's an impasse, my responsibility and my air and how I conduct the mediation process is over. It's not truly over. Okay, there are cases out there, and I'll list them. Okay, there are cases out there, make opinion cases, and people that have been grieved for the behavior after mediation. Okay, or there've been questions about after mediation. What should I do? In fact, I have a particular MEAC review ethical conversation and article about a particular case where a mediator was going to sign on or be approved to be the expert witness in a fee hearing in regards to the case that he mediated. Can he do that? Some say yes. We'll see what I have to say about that. Nonetheless, Stanley Zamor, the shadow of mediation, the behavior you do during the process, but more importantly, what happens afterwards? How does a mediator conduct himself or herself afterwards? And real quick, the reason why it's important, because imagine you being a party, not an attorney only or some level of representative. What happens afterwards where it's agreed that the case is over or the process of mediation is completed, but afterwards you see that mediator behave in a manner that's maybe a little bit more uncomfortable for you to watch as you're seeing them interact with the others, as if there's some level of conversation that happens beyond here, beyond the dispute. That's going to definitely make you feel a little bit different as to, hold on, as they were going in between rooms, we were sharing ideas, and I asked them to ask them for that, I guess, to lower their demand or to increase their offer. And I had questions also and things that I thought he or she would come back with. They didn't. Why is that? Is it because they made a judgment that the other person's case seemed better? Or maybe what I had to offer, what I demanded, what I offered, ideas, whatever it may be, may not have been how they thought it, and they were more in line with the other person? It does matter. Okay, we are human beings. When you hear something, even if you're a mediator, there's a perspective you might have. We're not, as mediators, ethically allowed to share those, but it happens. So with that, thank you. I look forward to the next one. Stanley Zamor, certified mediator. Give me a call. Ask me a question. Have a good day.